Hi all you lovely kings, queens, and in-betweens, my name is Elaine, and today I'm going to show you all how to make a killer Eriette of the Charmed Apple commander deck for roughly $50. Eriette is an Orzhov commander. She costs 1 black, 1 white, and 1 colorless mana to cast. She's a 2/4 legendary human warlock with the following abilities. Each creature that's enchanted by an aura you control can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the number of auras you control. Thus, your goal is to throw some creatures onto your side of the field to keep yourself safe and attack with, all while enchanting your creatures with auras to benefit your team in various ways, into enemy fields to weaken their team and keep them from attacking you and your planeswalkers while Eriette is on the field. So Eriette can use her secondary ability to whittle away their health and heal your own, hopefully winning you the game. To help Eriette achieve that end, I've included a number of different creatures that synergize with her abilities. Some favorites include Orzhov of the Sun's Grace, which has flying and lifelink. Also, it gives Pegasus creatures you control lifelink. Finally, it has Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 white Pegasus creature token with flying. I like this card because it helps increase the size of your board, with flyers, which are often out of reach of attackers, each time you cast an enchantment, which is the category auras fall into. Another favorite is Orzhov of the Wild Rose, which can fly. It also gives other creatures you control that are enchanted by auras you control base power and toughness 4/4 and flying, oftentimes raising both your card's base power and toughness and adding a keyword, which makes them more versatile attackers and blockers. Danitha Capation Paragon is wonderful because she makes both equipment and aura spells cheaper to cast, spells that make up nearly a third of the deck. Doomwake Giant has Constellation. Whenever Doomwake Giant or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 until end of turn. This is wonderful because it stacks, allowing you to weaken the enemy and potentially clear the board, especially if it is filled with weaker token creatures. Grim Guardian is similar in terms of triggers, but it causes opponents to lose 1 life instead whenever it or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control. A final favorite is Luris of the Dream Den because he allows you, once during each of your turns, to cast a permanent spell with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard. This is wonderful because it allows you to recycle auras and other low-cost creatures found within this deck in a pinch, which very well may turn the tide of the battle. The instants and sorceries included in this deck serve a number of different functions such as board wipes, counter spells, and more. Brilliant Restoration is one of my favorite late-game plays because it allows you to return all artifact and enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. With one quick cast, you can rebuild a lost board and turn the tide of the battle in your favor since you only have to cast 1 spell to get your entire graveyard back. A graveyard which is probably filled with cards that fall into the artifact and enchantment spell categories. Reteller is somewhat similar in that it allows you to return each aura card from your graveyard to the battlefield, allowing you to recycle dead cards, buff your field, hinder your enemies, and use Eriette's ability to its fullest potential. Meanwhile, Winds of Wrath serves as a potential board wipe, while Path to Exile hinders the growth of an opponent's board. And Stroke of Midnight kills an enemy creature already out on their field, replacing it with a weak 1/1 white human creature token. Rebuff the Wicked can keep one of your key creatures, like Eriette, safe because it counters a spell that targets a permanent you control. The primary focus of this deck, however, are arguably the aura spells contained within it. In the interest of time, I'll only review a handful of auras meant to benefit your field and a handful of auras meant to hinder your opponents. A few examples of auras that are beneficial to your field are All That Glitters, which gives enchanted creature +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control, which is bound to be a lot given the nature of this deck. You can thus beef up Eriette this way to go in for quick commander damage kills, or another creature you don't mind risking as much as her. Benevolent Blessing allows you to enchant a creature. As Benevolent Blessing enters the battlefield, choose a color. Enchanted creature has protection from the chosen color. This effect doesn't remove auras and equipment you control that are already attached to it. This is a great way to protect Eriette or another key card, especially if you're facing a monocolored deck. A few examples of auras that hinder your enemies are Reprobation, which causes the enchanted creature to lose all abilities. It becomes a coward creature with base power and toughness 0/1, making it a great way to cripple how an opponent's deck synergizes if cast on a commander, around which their deck's functionality often hinges, or a stronger creature that is posing a threat. Stab Wound gives the enchanted creature -2/-2. Also, at the beginning of the upkeep of the enchanted creature's controller, that player loses 2 life, making it a great way to weaken a stronger enemy creature and whittle away at the enemy's HP at the same time. Finally, there's Trespasser's Curse, which makes it so whenever a creature enters the battlefield under the enchanted player's control, they lose 1 life and you gain 1 life, thus allowing you to whittle down their health while replenishing your own. In the interest of time, I won't mention all the other cards in this deck, which synergize with Eriette to destroy your enemies. Instead, I'll include a full deck list down below in the description so you can see what this deck has to offer for yourself. And there you have it, my deck tech for Eriette of the Charmed Apple. What did you think of my deck tech? Are you interested in Eriette or do you have an Eriette deck already? What do you think of enchantment decks? Let me know down below in the comments. I always like to know what you kings, queens, and in-betweens think. And if you like what you saw here today, please smash that like button until it's blue. Subscribe, ring that bell so you'll always know what's up, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye, guys!
Hi, Tisha Valenza, aka Poison Ivy, and you've just been watching King's Entertainment Reviews. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch.